As an avid manga reader, there's no better feeling than hearing news that your favorite manga just got an anime. The one that you talk about all the time when someone asks for a recommendation. The one that you keep hyping up to your friends in the anime group chat. The one that you swear will be the next Demon Slayer if it ever gets an anime. But on the other hand, there's no worse feeling in the world than seeing the very same anime butcher your favorite manga. I've lost count of how many times I've been disappointed by some horrendous anime adaptation. That's why today, I'm making a list of the top 5 anime series that deserve a remake. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I finally got the motivation to do it after seeing how they massacred the Record of Ragnarok. It's strange to already want a remake for an anime that just came out, but damn was I disappointed. So an anime can deserve a remake for many reasons. Maybe the anime veered off way too far from the source material. Maybe the show looks like it was done with Microsoft Paint while the manga has some godly art. Or maybe the anime just simply caught up to the manga, stopped, and now so much time has passed that it just makes more sense to start over anew. This list is going to contain anime series that check off all these boxes and more. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So starting off my list is obviously Berserk. I say obviously because this series should be on everybody's list. Now like I said in the past, I have not watched the original 1997 series, but I've heard people say that it's not bad. Also, the 3 movies on Netflix are passable. Not as mind-blowing as the manga, but enough to get my girlfriend interested. Regardless, I'll refrain myself from talking too much on these series. But there's no excuse for that absolute garbage that came out in 2016. I don't know what's worse, the fact that they didn't follow the original story at all, or the hideous CGI. No wait, it's definitely the CGI. Oh how they massacred my boy Guts. For years, I've been telling my friends to read Berserk, telling them that's one of the best pieces of literature that I've ever read. But I also have to tell them to not touch the anime adaptation with a 20-foot pole. For those of you who don't know, Berserk follows the story of the Black Swordsman Guts in his quest for revenge against his former friend, Griffith. On the outside, it may just seem like a story with giant swords, magic, and whatever the hell this thing is, but there's so much more than that. There's captivating political plotlines, themes about destiny versus free will, and the everlasting question on whether revenge is worth it. But somehow, it just feels like the 2016 anime misses the mark on all of these. They take things out of the story, introduce other elements way too early, and spend no time making me care about the characters. Even the deeply layered Guts seems like a shell of his manga self. And now with the unfortunate passing of Kentaro Miura, I'm not sure if the series will ever get an appropriate anime adaptation. But at the very least, I can say that it definitely deserves one. The next entry on my list is actually my favorite sports manga of all time. It's none other than Eyeshield 21. The story follows Seina Kobayakawa, the high school running back for the Daemon Devil Bats. Seina is the epitome of a wimpy protagonist. He's timid, spineless, and has been bullied his whole life. The guy is also as frail as a stick. But once Seina steps onto that football field, his alter ego takes over. No longer is he that feeble kid who can't stand up for himself. Instead, he's Eyeshield 21, the fastest high school running back in all of Japan. The demeanor between the two is like night and day. But the character development of Seina is one of the best that I've ever seen. The confidence that he gains while playing football obviously carries over to his day-to-day life. There's really no reason to be scared of the high school bullies after facing off against the strongest linebacker in Japan. The story follows Seina as he and the Devil Bats attempt to win the coveted Christmas Bowl and become the best team in Japan. As the story progresses, we see them experience some victories and defeats, but each battle brings them closer to that goal. It's honestly very inspiring to see the culmination of all their hard work. And that's my first problem with the anime. Unfortunately, this is one of those instances where the anime did not adapt the manga in its entirety. Now, I didn't watch the anime or read the manga during its weekly run in the late 2000s, but by looking at the date of when the anime ended and when the manga ended, I would assume the show had to end because it just caught up to the source material. Now this by itself isn't necessarily a problem. In a perfect world, the anime would have took a break after the Devil Bats played the White Knights and let the manga finish before adapting the rest. Maybe if the anime came out today and was released in 12 or 24 episode seasons, then this could have been possible. but instead, the show was released weekly as a long-running anime with over 100 episodes. And unfortunately, they ended it with an anime original ending. Remember how I said their goal was to win the Christmas Bowl? Well yeah, we don't get to see any of that. We actually don't even get to see the game that qualifies them for the championship. Imagine investing so much time into the characters and then getting no payoff. To a smaller degree, it would be like watching One Piece and not seeing Luffy become the Pirate King. It's just sad that the anime gave some generic ending that obviously had to include a time skip. And then my second problem with the show is that the art just pales in comparison to the manga. I don't want to be too harsh on the animators because it's rough making a weekly show. But the characters just seem a lot clunkier and uglier than their manga counterparts. This is even more apparent considering the manga is drawn by Yusuke Murata, the same godly artist who is currently drawing the One Punch Man manga. I think a modern day reboot of Eyeshield 21 with some updated animation would really give the series the credit it deserves. The next anime on my list is another one of my favorite medieval stories. In fact, it's probably my second favorite after Berserk. And it's none other than Claymore. In the world of Claymore, there exist human-devouring monsters known as Yoma. Not only are the Yoma vastly superior to humans in strength, but they also have the ability to disguise themselves as people. Only a handful of specialized warriors can defeat the Yoma. These warriors are known as Claymores. Our protagonist is Claire, Claymore number 47. We follow the jaded and vengeful Claire on her quest to hunt down the monster who ruined her life. Now that's the basic premise of Claymore, but it doesn't adequately describe why the series is so good. I've yet to read or watch anything else with such a powerful cast of female characters. What I didn't mention before was that only females can become Claymores. They explain the reason why in the story, but it definitely is an interesting take that I appreciate. Only the select few girls raised as Claymores could understand the living hell that they go through every day. The pain, the fear, and the despair. So you see them develop a sisterhood that isn't seen in any other show. Even the aloof Claire can't resist being drawn into the camaraderie. Now onto why the show deserves a remake. Once again, the anime left off with an anime original ending that was less than satisfying. Now I will say that it doesn't feel as empty as the Eyeshield 21 ending. Like I said, in regards to Eyeshield, you invest into over 100 episodes and you don't even get to see them qualify for the Christmas Bowl. At least for Claymore, it's only 26 episodes. Now while the ending was rushed, I'm not even saying that the anime was bad. To be quite honest, the first 23-ish episodes were true to the story and rather entertaining. Even in regards to the animation, despite it being done in 2007, the dark tones of the show accurately captures the gritty vibes that you get from reading the manga. Of course, new animation wouldn't hurt. Maybe someone like Mappa Studios. There are so many good fight scenes in Claymore, and I'm sure that they would knock it out of the park. But yeah, my biggest gripe with the show would probably be the poor ending and the fact that the show really only touched the tip of the iceberg when it came to the story. The history of the world runs deep and there's still so much left to be explored. I would say that the anime really only covered about 1/3 of the original story. In my opinion, so much time has passed since the original series that it would be a dream come true for Claymore fans for there to be a whole new remake rather than a season 2. The fourth anime that I believe deserves a remake is the shonen series Toriko. Now, maybe there are some other series that deserve a remake before Toriko, but I personally love this anime. Also, I doubt anyone else is going to put Toriko on their list, so why not put it on mine? Toriko is set in a world with bountiful, delicious, and exotic foods. You have burgers that grow on trees and soda that comes from the tears of a sphinx. But getting these mouth-watering treasures is not easy. One would need to risk their life against harsh environments and deadly monsters. Only the trained experts, known as gourmet hunters, are skilled enough to hunt down the high-end ingredients. Our protagonist is Toriko, one of the world's most renowned gourmet hunters and a member of the 4 Heavenly Kings. We follow him along with his chef Komatsu along their journey to complete Toriko's full-course menu. So yeah, if you think the premise of the show sounds wonky, it definitely is. But it's nice to watch something so different and unique. I never would have thought that I'd be so entertained watching a cast of characters go around the world hunting down ingredients. Now this isn't to say that there isn't a lot of fighting. In fact, I would say the fighting is definitely the most appealing thing about the show. While the story may be lackluster here and there, very few shows have gotten my adrenaline pumping like Toriko. The feats that some of these characters pull off is mind-boggling. Destroying mountains and islands is nothing to these guys. They have to be more worried about destroying the planet. And some of the characters have the most hacked abilities. But as you might have guessed, the anime didn't even get to the best fights. The anime didn't even scratch the surface of how wild the story gets. I can't emphasize enough, the power scaling in the show is crazy. Now while some of you guys may find that as a critique, I just learned to enjoy the crazy roller coaster. Trust me, it's a lot more fun if you just give in to the hype. There's a lot of things that I can critique about the anime that involves the story. They leave some stuff out while also adding in this original anime character that is supposed to act as a narrator. She acts as a tool to give exposition, and I feel like most people agree that she really just isn't necessary. But in my opinion, the worst thing that the Toriko anime did was censoring everything. All of those crazy fights that I just talked about are so crazy because you have guys getting decapitated and having their limbs cut off. The anime toned it down a lot to make it more kid-friendly. But you have to realize that censoring out all the blood and gore takes away from the enjoyment. If I remember correctly, Toriko isn't even allowed to smoke a cigar. I don't know how feasible it would be for any shonen anime, but if Toriko ever gets a reboot, I hope they go balls to the wall crazy with all of the carnage. And now for my fifth and final anime. It's strange to be asking for a remake for an anime that ended so recently, but if you saw season 2 of the Promised Neverland, then you'd be asking the same thing. It's actually comical how bad season 2 was. After having a stellar season 1, fans couldn't wait for season 2. But instead of getting a continuation of the great 12 episodes before it, fans were given this hot mess. In the orphanage known as the Grace Fieldhouse, the children live peaceful and perfect lives. They eat until their stomachs are full, they sleep in warm sheets, and they are showered with the tender loving care of their mom. The story follows Emma, an 11-year-old girl who's more loving, optimistic, and stubborn than anyone else. She, along with her friends Norman and Ray, are by far the smartest and most gifted children at the Gracefield orphanage. One day, their sister Connie is finally sent away for adoption. However, while leaving the premise, Connie forgot her beloved toy which she never lets go of. Emma then makes it a point to catch up with Connie so that she can return the doll. But once she does, she finds out the dark truth behind the orphanage and the reason for their existence. Season 1 of The Promised Neverland was one of the best first seasons of any show that I've ever watched. They did an amazing job of keeping the audience members on their toes and making it so that they can never guess what happens next. My jaw would drop with every new plot twist, and I found myself in constant anticipation for next week's episode. You'll find yourself scratching your head thinking of how the kids are going to get out of the situation, but then the show is able to provide a perfect logical solution. It felt like everything was planned out and there was no asspulls. However, there was none of this in season 2. By skipping one of the most popular arcs in the manga, they also got rid of some major characters that were crucial to Emma's development. They reintroduced some characters way too soon and gave no logical explanation for how they returned. They would tease certain plot points from the manga that ultimately led to nothing. Like I said, the best thing about season 1 was the suspense it built every episode. But in season 2, that feeling doesn't exist. Things just feel too nice and easy. It was super rushed and the characters were given all the answers they needed so that the anime could end in 11 episodes. If only they could just remake season 2, because to me, season 1 is a masterpiece. Alright guys, so that was my top 5 anime series that deserve a remake. Now having said all of that, I have to be realistic here. The chances that any of these shows are getting a remake are slim to none. From my understanding, the goal of an anime is to promote the manga and boost sales. With all of these mangas being finished, not including Berserk, I just find it difficult to see any studios picking these up. If any of these series were to ever get adapted from start to finish, then it would cost a lot of money and take a lot of time. But alas, I can still pray that at least one of them gets a remake. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.